Our application is a RESTful API, and all the API calls can actually be called via the URL. So just as a very quick example, we have a list of teachers here. If I want to go to a particular teacher, we have teacher 0 because the ID of this particular teacher is 0. We only have one teacher at the moment, so if I was to put in 99, the API will tell you that that user could not be found. All the API calls are nested in the config folder and belong in the roots file here, so you can peruse this for all the different API calls. For database to handle data persistence, instead our data is stored as JSON files in the root directory of the project, which you can see here. So we have assignments, competitions, students, teachers. For each REST API call, if data is changed, then its corresponding JSON files will be modified at the end of the call. To reset the persistence data to initial state after running the application, simply type make reset. You can click to create a new assignment and create a new assignment. My new assignment. And here you can follow the instructions to create a new assignment. So we click to create a new question, and we can add a new question, and then question 1. Then we can type a response. This is QCM, so we have different responses. So we can do response 1. Sorry, let's do A1. We can check to say whether it's a correct answer or not. And it updates here. A2, and we're not going to have this one correct. And actually we can have more than one correct answer if we wanted to, so let's make A3 correct as well. And there we go, it tells us where we're at. And we can end creating this question and move on to making a new one, or we can finish adding the questions, and then we get a summary of the assignment. This particular assignment isn't very interesting, so let's go back to the assignments page and look at something more interesting, like English perhaps. Okay, so that gives you a bit of an overview of how to create an assignment, and yeah, keep looking at the URLs on top. You can get an idea of the URL. So here we've got the teacher, again the user ID, assignment, and at the moment we're editing assignment 2. If we wanted to go to 20, because I remember there was a 20, we can click 20. So anyway, let's go back to 2. As you can see, we can delete a question if we want. I won't do that just yet. And we can go into the question and review the question. It tells us here, the view tells us that which answer is the correct answer and which is the false answer. And then we can go to the next question, and we can review each question as we want, and when we get to the end we can go back to assignments. Yeah, I can show you, I was not going to delete the question off the other one, but I can show you here on the non-interesting assignment. We can just delete the question and it tells us we have no questions in the assignment. On the student, let's click on myself. You can see the status of the assignments, And to continue an assignment, I can click on Unfinished Assignments. And actually, this is something that we still need to implement. This handles actually if you go directly into the question and try and take the question. When you respond, it tells us that I've actually already done this question, so it's not going to save the data. However, this is a question of implementation, and you could overwrite the data if you wanted to. So let's go to the next question, and let's answer the next question. And as I said before, we can do multiple correct answers, which can be separated by a virgule. In fact, it can be separated by any non-numerical character, and it will save your responses. So let's do that. And I've already answered this one, so let's go on to the next one. What is the question? A synonym for ephemeral. Well, let's just go for momentary, and we should submit that. Oh, did I submit? Ah, there's another question. Quincy's added another one. I didn't realise. Okay, so an atonym of precipitate. She's testing my English here. Well, anyway, let's just go for 2 again and see what happens at the end. So here we're presented with a score, and considering I'm English, I didn't do so well, so I have a 3 out of 5. So let's quickly exit that, and as you can see, the score is presented here. As we're happy with the design and model of the application. The idea was to be as flexible as possible. We wanted reusable content, so we created a core object called content. Any serializable object would either wrap a content or extend a content. Content has an ID, so it can be retrieved either by our system or indeed by other systems. So we have here a text which is an extension of content, or an image. We could have sound, you could have whatever you can think of. We designed the QCM, which is an extension of content, and that QCM then sits in a question, and then you get many questions that make up an assignment. So the idea actually was to have a content store, and then assignments would reference the content rather than as it stands in the system right now, where we've actually wrapped all the content in the assignment JSON. We learned that it's definitely better to understand the Play framework before designing the application. We would like to have refactored parts of the view controller used by the Play framework to make it more reusable, or view controllers, sorry. Likewise with the Play templates, there's some repeated code in there which now we understand it a lot better. We would like the time to actually make that more elegant and more reusable. Also, case classes, they're great, but you have to be careful. Careful thought needs to go into when to use them, especially with respect to Play's JSON serialization and inheritance, which we learned the hard way. So you need to think about how you're going to serialize your objects before and their relationship to other subclasses or parent classes, and whether a case class is going to be manageable or not. And also Scala is obviously great for all sorts of different design patterns, factory, decorator, and so on. Another thing we learned that is that without a manager to manage your tasks, it can be very difficult to know who's doing what and the progress of the project. So that's it. It's been hard work. It's been fun at the same time, and hopefully you'll enjoy the results.